Memo, you played me this morning. You made me feed you and I walked away for like 10 seconds. And then I came back and your whole family was eating your cat food. Is that why you're so skinny, Memo? Huh? Gosh, freaking guy. Good morning, you guys. Welcome back to the channel. And today should be a swap type of day. I've taken a look at the injectors and they are indeed OBD2 because they have the little clips on the side. And if you guys don't know OBD2, you can just remove it from pinching the clip instead of removing the retaining clip. And I don't have any OBD2 clips lying around. I do have a bundle of OBD0 and OBD1 injector harnesses that I've taken from the junkyard, but never did I think that I would need OBD2. I did not go to the junkyard yet. Paco's coming over. He's going to give me a hand while I strip the harness down and start building it. Actually, I could just build it later when I grab all the stuff that I need. But the reason why I want to build it now is because I want to install the harness on the engine and, obviously use the engine as a mock-up. But install it on the engine before I put it in the car so I don't fight trying to snake it through or whatever. But that's not a big deal. I could do that. Also, I don't have the throw-out bearing, so I can't install the transmission on the motor. Paco has that, and he's still in here, so wait for that to show up. Today's goal, swap the motor into the car, and at least button up I still gotta knock out this axle right here. I pretty much just removed it out of the transmission instead of removing it from the hub. And if it came down to it, I'm just gonna WD-40 torch the crap out of it. If you guys remember, I did this on my brother's car, I believe. I don't remember. Yeah, the B20VTEC. And then I'm gonna use my giant impact wrench because everybody is awake, hopefully. And I'm gonna make all the noise that I need to make to crack that axle loose so I can use that axle possibly, if they are the same for auto and manual, on the CRX. So, like I said, today's goal, put the engine in the car, button everything else up, and if I have to work until tomorrow to get the harness put in the car, I will do so. And then, like I said, maybe a third segment like buttoning up, putting the exhaust on, or modify the exhaust to put on, so on and so forth. So with that being said, guys, let's get started. Dying distributor is also OBD2, but I have these plugs in my bin because, like I said, I collect these. You never know when you do a multi-point conversion, and customer is either OBD0, OBD1, or OBD2. So I got this guy, and I actually have OBD0 injectors right here, but I don't have one of the filters. I'm not worried about the O-ring. I got a whole box of O-ring, otherwise I can jack those. And this plastic piece is broken, but it was super glued years ago. So if I use these, save me a trip to go to the junkyard, I'm just gonna pretty much plug them up and run power to it and squirt them out with some brake cleaner. DIY on YouTube, how to clean your injectors, just to make sure that these flow. And then if they do, we'll probably just pull those suckers out, put these on, and I got the whole wiring harness for OBD0 with the resistor box to wire into the harness. Paco came through with a new thermostat and the throw-out bearing for that matching clutch. And here's the transmission that's been sitting under the table for like hella long. And I just realized now I don't have a clutch fork. That's awesome. He doesn't have a starter, which I have one for my build, and he doesn't have an alternator as well, which I also still have from my build. I'm not sure if I'm just gonna slap it on here. I'll probably just put it on here and just tell him to pay me. But gonna have to do what I'm gonna have to do. Don't want to leave the house, or don't want to go buying shit without, having money on deck or whatever. But anyways, I'm gonna mate the transmission to the motor, and then, like I said, I want to get the motor hung into the car and all the swap components put onto the motor in the car, so on and so forth, the header and all. Got the rear motor mount bolted in because that is the pain to do when the motor's in the car, so that's on first. Frame rail has been smushed a tad bit. Well, not a tad bit, but enough. I removed the old line that I snipped accidentally and put a new one on it because I have extras lying around because hoarders. Haven't got inside yet, but like I said, I want to hang the motor first. So let's get this sucker put together and using a bunch of my parts. Nice looking transmission and dirty ass motor. Awesome. Hasport. I'm rocking all of Hasport's freaking mount kit and everything, and I have been since day one. So, got the transmission put on, the throw bearing fork, got the cable to hydro actuator from Hasport, and before anybody talk any shit, I've ran that on my transmission for years. Right there. And I run that sucker with the cable on a twin disc. So before anybody talk about you know, that being junk or whatever, innovative unit is junk. Okay, so I just put the half shaft on right there, and he's also missing a speedo gear speed sensor, which I'm just going to snag off of mine since probably not going to use it ever again anyways. Slap that on there. Just double checking everything to make sure that we're ready to drop it. But before we drop this into the car, I'm just going to build the engine harness before we do, because I want to make sure that I route every wire to their home location. Oh, and I gotta do the alternator as well, which I gotta dig out still, but I want to route all the wires accordingly before I do. And obviously when I have the engine harness all wrapped up, I can stick it on the engine before we throw it into the car. So yeah, I'm gonna put on the post mount real quick and then dig out the alternator, start hacking up the harness. Post mount, alternator, all that jazz. Motor should be ready to rock and roll. The header, I'll put it on when the engine is in the car. But right now, I just went through my backyard bin, and I didn't have any OBD0 like complete injector wiring harness. Other than this one right here, which is snipped, or it looks like it was wired up before or something. But nonetheless, I have this, and then I have this guy right here, which is going to come out on the passenger side tower, so it'll be a plug and play harness to the inside of the car. Oh dang it, I don't have the other side. I'll snag one from the junkyard tomorrow or something, because I'm going to make a trip out there. Anyways, I got my plug for the distributor, got the injector wirings, and these suckers plug onto the OBD0 injectors, but they do not plug on the OBD2. Yeah, so I'm going to convert this harness right now, just so I can have it on the engine before we put it in the car. Man, this took some time. Whew, that is a tiring process. Now we are getting later into the evening. It's like 6 o'clock, and now we can finally put this sucker on that sucker, and then get this sucker slid underneath and installed into this sucker. Engine harness installed. For us EF and DA guys that are trying to go hydro transmission in your car, you have to use the DAT bracket right here, and then you have to widen the hole to accept the 19mm bolts that the hydro transmission uses. The cable transmission used 17mm, one short, one long, and given that I didn't go to the hardware store to get this, I just have two 19mm of the same length. This one right here, it's already bored out, you can see it. So this one right here goes through, threads about 1.5 inches, and then this one right here, like I said, because it's the same length, I'm gonna have to like put spacers or washers right here, so that way we're not putting the whole bolt into the tranny, which then would crack that casing right there. So yeah, I am just gonna go and find something to compensate this gap, and then I'm gonna install this with the motor now, and then when we drop the engine, we don't have to fight to put the T-bracket into place.
After a little struggle earlier, motor went in with ease, and everything like behind is all hooked up, coolant hoses, harness. I just got to run to the junkyard tomorrow, snag this plug, run the 4 inside, 2 crank, 2 injector, and then this harness right here will be buttoned up. Right now I'm going to do the header, find all the bolts that I need because I don't have any 12 millimeters for those, but we'll figure a way. And then I'm going to do like the cross member. I can throw the axle in on this side and throw all the suspension stuff back together. This one I didn't get to it with the impact because I was doing everything else. The harness is like very time consuming because can't fuck it up. So I spent a lot of time today with the harness and didn't get to the axle. But as far as tonight goes, I want to do as much as I can before I end the night, because now I don't know if you guys can see these little bugs. When the light's out, they are out. So don't want to stay out there with them, because once they bite you, I'm gonna be looking like a cherry, bro. You guys know the rules. When the bird's singing, it's time to close. Except we're not done. So for B series, those ears for the single cam trans mount in the front sits way too close here. So because we're not running a front mount and the half sport motor mount solid, I drilled those ears out and hammered away because it is like 1230 yellow. But I'm gonna install this, put that axle on, button up this suspension, and then we can close this video out. 12:59. All right, guys, we got the cross member reinstalled with the ears chopped off of it, so now we are not interfering with the transmission. We got the fan, we got the AC fan removed, and the transmission cooler lines. Radiator hoses are installed and radiator secured. Over here we have the suspension, the axle, and everything pretty much bolted back up. The rotor spins freely, dust boot removed, and bird's really singing, and it really means it's time to close the garage. So with that being said, guys, we didn't get as far as I wanted to, but like I said, progress is definitely better than no progress. We did a lot. We got the engine installed, half the suspension installed, and missing some parts for the shift linkage, so we didn't get to do that today. But the main part is done. So I spoke to Eric when he came by earlier today, and if I have to go into Monday or Tuesday, it's fine too. But I definitely want to knock it out and get it out in rolling so it doesn't stay here too long, because I got other things to do as well. But we are on track, and we are looking good. I'm going to end the video right here, guys. I hope you enjoy the progress as we go. I think we're on part 2 of this B20VTEC install and auto to manual conversion. Tomorrow we'll get further into the cabin as far as swapping the pedal assembly and then the shift linkage and everything else pertaining to the auto to manual conversion. So if you guys want to see the car fire over, please stick around. With that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.